how people want to play the King's Gambit in chess. And we got this game, Anderson against Lionel, and this was all the way back in 1851. Let's get started. So this is how the game started. The game started with e4, e5, f4, and then Black decided to accept the gambit because usually how to defeat a gambit is by accepting it. So they took on f4, bishop c4, queen h4, and then the weird move that White decided to play, king f1. King f1 is a weird move. It gets into some weird variations, but let's go along with this journey. After the queen was checking the king and the king had to move to f1, we got the move b5. Bishop takes b5 because why not take a free pawn? Knight f6, knight f3, and then the queen moved back from h6 because the knight was attacking the queen on the h4 square. What was next after this? Well, White decided to play a normal move, d3. What happened after d3? We got knight h5 for some reason. We got this knight on the edge of the board. Now, after knight h5, we got knight h4. And yes, like I said before, this game is going to get pretty weird. Just stay with me. After this knight went to h4, they decided to move the queen one more time to g5 to attack this knight. But this knight had no worries because this knight just wanted to go to the f5 square. So usually when you put your knight on the edge of the board, you want to bring it back into the correct square. After the knight went back to after the knight went to f5, we got c6 being played. After c6 was played, g4 was played. And yes, this game is just going to get weirder from here. So after g4 was played, we're not going to do en passant. We're not going to take the bishop, but they moved the knight back to f6. After the knight was moved back to f6 to attack this g-pawn, White decided to protect this pawn by doing rook g1, protecting this pawn. So now this queen and knight is the only thing that's developed, and this bishop is still being attacked and can still be captured, which that's what Black did. C captures on b5. After c captures on b5, we got h4 attacking the queen, and after h4 we got queen g6. And yes, these are the two pieces that are developed, but this king is kind of, I don't know about these king gambits variations. They're pretty confusing. Am I right? Like, look at this position right now. Is this king safe or is it not? Oddly enough, in this position, White is up about 2.7 points, especially after the move h5. After h5 was played, the queen went back to g5, queen f3. After queen f3, we got knight g8, moving back with the piece. For some reason, just getting the queen the option to go to queen d8 because we don't want this queen to be trapped on this g5 square. After knight g8 was played, we got bishop takes on f4, which, it's pretty much clear that White is winning in this position since we have 4 pieces developed and they just had this queen developed since they wanted to move their knight back to the g8 square. After this, after the bishop took on the f4 square, we got the move. What do we got here? We got queen f6. And then after queen f6, we got knight c3. Why not develop each piece? And then we got the horrible move that was played, bishop c5. Even though you would think that this is a good tempo move to have on the rook, but let's just let White show why they're the Grandmaster, why they're the best player in the 1800s, and nobody else isn't. So then we got the powerful move, just ignoring this threat by the bishop, attacking our rook, and just doing knight d5, attacking the queen. And yes, this pretty much forced this queen to take this b2 square, because why not? If you're already in a losing position, let White prove why they're winning. And so in this position, after the queen took on b2, we got bishop d6, which was the blunder in this position. How bad was it? Well, it was really bad since this move pretty much equalized everything. And if Black would have just played the move, let me see here to get this correctly, queen takes a1, then they would have been in an equalized position. But no, Black decided to capture this rook on the g1 square instead of capturing this rook on the a1 square. So remember, if you're in a losing position, there's always a chance for you to come back and for you to have that alertness in that position to not give up at all. Don't just give up a position since you're losing. And especially in this position where you would think that, oh snap, I have no chance, especially going against a Grandmaster or at least an expert. But no, why give up? Be the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. After their bishop took our rook on g1, white decided to play the move e5. And then after they took our second rook by taking queen a1, we went to king e2. And if we analyze this position, we got the whole center. We got the most developed pieces. Their king is useless right now. None of their pieces on the 8th rank are doing anything. And so, yes, of course, white is winning, even though they only have 3 minor pieces, which white will show why they're winning. After king e2 was played, black decided to do the move knight a6, which was another big blunder since the best move was bishop a6. After knight a6 was played, we got knight takes g7, and this is a beautiful checkmate in 3. Knight takes g7, check, king d8. After king d8, we have queen f6 sacrifice because a knight can take this queen on f6, which that's what happened in the position. Knight takes f6. And after knight takes f6, we got bishop e7, checkmate. This king cannot move to c7 because of this knight on the d5 square. This king cannot move to e8 because of this knight on the g7 square. And this king cannot capture the bishop because of this knight on the d5 square. We checkmated, not we, but white. Let me just get their name out here to not be disrespectful. But this knight, dang, I'm going to have to go all the way back to the beginning of the game. Dang, let me give them their praise. Adolf Anderson decided to checkmate the black king and win this game pretty prestigiously, especially in this position with 3 minor pieces. It can be done, and especially all of black pieces are still primarily on the board. All they're missing is, actually, they're not missing any major or minor pieces at all. They got checkmated with no captures except for the pawns, which is crazy enough, right? And so just remember, you can checkmate your opponent without capturing nothing and with 3 minor pieces. And especially if you're playing the King's Gambit. Hey, play it like this.